Write down why you're scared about delegating, and then talk about the technology that already exists within your tech stack that is there to solve that specific problem. And then the plus side of that, where AI comes in, is every single piece of our tech stack today has AI, whether we like it or not, right? So before we start buying tools, before we start looking at new solutions, what can you optimize today that you are not optimizing so that you can create a cohesive environment where you are not training your employees to be robots and do one task over and over again because you're so terrified of taking off the training wheels, because that's not going to benefit you long term if they have to be told every single thing to do in a specific way and not think for themselves. That means that they're not thinking about ways to be better, faster, more scalable, and you're going to continuously be the bottleneck in your own success.
Yes. And it's fun that you took it to the tools that we already have. I see so many times when and it's really tempting right now because there are a lot of really cool sounding tools where you're like, "Oh, I'll buy this new tool and it's the magic wand that I need." And I'm here to I question everything, but, like, is it already there in your tech stack and you're just not
Right.
using it? Because
Right.
I bet it is.
Exactly. And not to mention
Get the most
90% of
out of
this.
what you have.
Yes, 90% of this is change management too. So imagine what this is doing downstream for your employees, right? You see this new magic tool and you're like, oh my gosh, I saw an ad. They marketed it so well. They spoke exactly to me. Like, that is my pain point. And it's like, yeah, of course it is. They paid a ton of money just to get people like you in front of them and validate their ideas. So, of course, they're saying exactly what you want them to say, right? Like, take that aside for a second. Let's
Yes.
just play this out. Let's play the scenario out. You bring in this shiny new tool. You tell your team to start using this tool. If there wasn't a process in place today for this workflow stream, what is bringing in a tool going to do? It's going to add more fatigue, more confusion, and less standardization, which is not what you need at this point in time.
Yeah, and it's another thing they have to learn, another project they don't have time for, and I see them stall out after the contract gets signed, and really what you described is good marketing, right? There is a lot of good marketing with AI first companies right now. I love it. Okay, so then I see a lot of we need to do AI. We need to the board said we need to do AI. You see it as well. And then the thing that makes me nervous, I spent a lot of time in financial services and fintech, so I am very risk averse. I see people implementing AI without guidelines for employees. Like, it's not mentioned in the employee handbook. There's no how to use it, when not to, what you can put in it, what you can't. No policy. And I know what happens. Confidential data goes in there because you didn't tell them they couldn't. And then, God forbid, there's a breach. And then you're like, I want to fire them because there was a breach and it's their fault. And HR's like, nah, because you didn't tell them to not do
Right.
that. So, anyway, from a risk standpoint, it's really alarming. So, what, aside from that scary stuff, like what other exposure, like what else can happen if companies skip the governance step before implementing AI?
I mean, so many possibilities, but I would actually go back to what you just said about risk, because you have a very good domain expertise where if I asked you to define risk, you would define it in a very articulate manner. I don't think that most companies can define what risk means to them. Is it brand? Is it looks? If you see something go out, you're like, oh God, technically that's right, but like, I don't like the way that looks. Or is it our data is being used to train models and we are losing IP rights that we didn't even know we were giving up in the first place? That's truly risk at the end of the day. And so I would
Mhm.
say defining what risk means to the leaders at that organization and aligning on that as a statement and a pillar for what we want to safeguard is the first step in governance, because it doesn't look the same to every single company. And therefore, to answer your question, when you define that and you create the governance, what can happen afterwards if you don't do that as a result is you lose the employees because their first interaction with an AI tool makes or breaks the rest of their experience using it at that company. The confidence and leadership to be able to articulate what the board wants down to the rest of the company is not there because they don't understand what they're supposed to be doing. So they obviously are not going to be excited to communicate anything downward. So there's a blocker and a bottleneck. And then your employees aren't going to understand the value of why this is so crucial to them and how this relates to their time at the company. Is this a core competency? Are they going to get a bonus, a promotion? Are these skills going to transfer to other companies because they're going to stay at your company for a small amount of time? We have to think about it from a career longevity standpoint and not just a what is the average 2 to 3 years of each employee here going to look like?